Hi, this is Anthony Parent of Parent and Parent LLP, IRSMedic. And in this video, I'm going to go over a little bit about who we are and who we like to help. Now, I'm a 20-year tax attorney, and we have clients and staff worldwide. We help foreign entities with U.S. ownership with their U.S. taxes, along with U.S. and foreign entities with their U.S. taxes. We're going to answer these questions: why the IRS can be difficult to work with and to understand, the strategies we've successfully used and developed. Now, who we help closely held businesses and individuals who own them deal with complicated U.S. tax issues, which often involve an international component. We offer tax compliance services, current and past year tax preparation for both U.S. persons, shareholders, businesses, and non-resident aliens, along with trusts. We offer tax advisory services. We utilize our vast working knowledge to help clients avoid difficult tax issues while lowering their tax bill. So let's answer this question. Why is the IRS so difficult to understand? And the answer really comes from the American system. It's a philosophy of heavy taxation, heavy government expenditures, pretty much all driven by politics. And that's the real answer. Yet in this American system, there's something quite unique. There are only about 20,000 IRS examiners or auditors for the 330 million Americans. So let us consider we have one examiner per every 16,500 people. And these numbers are just getting worse for the IRS. They have an attrition rate and they just simply aren't able to recruit. And a lot of their experienced auditors aren't training the new people because they simply don't have time. So now, if you were running the IRS, how would you deal with this massive, massive brain deficit? Well, if I was running it, and I had these limitations and I didn't care about my soul, I would rule by fear and intimidation. You know, that some of your confusion, really, some of your confusion about the IRS may be by design. And here's a great example: foreign pensions. The IRS could give clear rules about what's required, but we've seen the IRS is intentionally opaque because they like to leave penalty doors open, which lead people to overfiling or underfiling. Here's the thing: the IRS needs an image of omnipotence. The press releases are written to scare you. Yet the IRS doesn't like to lose and it doesn't like to waste resources. So the question is this a key? It is. That's the key to it. Look, here's the thing. The IRS looks for easy cases, and then they're going to make an example of that easy case. Here's an example. Let's just say we have taxpayer A, and he doesn't file the required forms or missed key data. The question the IRS examiner is going to look at: is there an audit module that will allow for quick and easy assessments? Now, think of an audit module as sort of an assembly line to create penalties. The IRS has created these modules to make examiners' job easier. Now, let's compare that with taxpayer B. Taxpayer B took a very aggressive position, but offers support that is intricately woven into complicated tax forms. The examiner will look at that and say, is there any module at all? Because what the examiner doesn't want to do is have to create his or her own module. So let's even add more meat to the bones here. Let's say taxpayer A is unrepresented or underrepresented. Business owner believes the IRS will be fair and reasonable, yet doesn't make sure filings are complete or accurate. Believes, well, I'm not a big fish and I have nothing to hide. Let's go with taxpayer B. Taxpayer B is an international company that takes very aggressive positions to lower a tax bill to an effective 7% rate on net income. Most certainly a big fish, perhaps one of the biggest fish. So which one would the IRS be more interested in auditing? Well, there's a reason why taxpayer B's case has that, because actually a friend of mine was tax counsel for that firm. I can't tell you who it is. He promised me to secrecy. But I can tell you it's definitely a firm whose product you would recognize, and you would be floored to find out in the 12 years that he worked there, they were never examined. He and I discussed this, and we kind of understood the IRS's point. For the IRS to open an examination on this, it would require a team of 10 to 15 very experienced, very scarce, very competent international examiners and their support staff. Not only that, the audit itself would take at least 3 years to complete. And on top of that, you have 2 years of appeal. And on top of that, you have, depending, 2 to 5 years of litigation. So no matter what, the IRS is basically looking at a 10-year battle, utilizing many of its staff, many of whom will retire in that 10 years, leaving them in a position where it's hard to argue. So why would the IRS go after taxpayer B when all it's going to do is they're going to be ground because taxpayer B understands the risk of what the IRS is? Wouldn't they like to go after taxpayer A instead? Taxpayer A doesn't think he's a real threat and doesn't think the IRS would do anything completely illogical or nonsensical. And that's why taxpayer A is in the far worse position. Now, here's the thing. More intimidation's on tap. The IRS's responsibilities grow. FATCA and international compliance has only gotten more complicated. And now they're pulling away examiners from international and domestic returns to focus on COVID relief programs that the IRS believes, many of which were filed in error. There's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act complications, along with still parts of Obamacare that the IRS is in charge of, along with the Bank Secrecy Act. Now, here's the thing. You don't need to outrun the IRS bear. The question to ask is this, do you need to run faster than the bear to be safe from the bear, right? You don't need to. You just need to be faster than the slowest person. Well, here's the thing. You just want to not be, to mix metaphors, low-hanging fruit. You don't want to create an easy case that the IRS can run up the score on. So here's how we found success. We understand the IRS's limitations. As tax attorneys, we know the types of challenges the IRS doesn't want to deal with. The thing to understand is that people who write the tax laws and regulations tend to believe administrative competency is an inexhaustible resource, and they are running so short on it, and that's the truth. And here's a great example for you. Cost segregation is a tax shelter that really helps people who own commercial property. What it does, it allows you to accelerate your depreciation for greater write-off this year, involving a lower tax bill. Now, in order to do a cost segregation tax shelter, you usually need a report done by a professional engineer. Now, when you do this, your professional engineer submits a report, you do it according to the code. The question to ask is, who at the IRS is a professional engineer? The answer is, I don't think they have any. So what they do is they just accept it because they don't have a way to challenge it. What they do look for is someone who took a shortcut. Maybe they just submitted a report without that professional engineer's opinion. Well, in that case, that's going to be a little bit easier for the IRS to examine, audit, hit with penalties and additional taxes. The key to dealing with the IRS is knowing what's important and having protection. We're national leaders on international disclosures and FBAR and FATCA related penalties. I routinely talk to examiners and their group managers from around the country to see what their progress is, and they often share with me what they're doing. We apply the lessons we learn to all of our clients. We offer a level of service that the Big Four really can't deliver. Their focus is on large and publicly traded companies, and that practice area is so lucrative for them. Now, a little bit about us. We're attorneys, CPAs, enrolled agents. We work on your side. We identify with you and we want to see you succeed. Our experienced staff works remotely around the globe. It's more important for us to have the right skill set than a geographic fit. Our fees are generally lower than the Big Four. So contact us if your business needs experienced tax advisory services. Go to IRSMedic.com to book a time to speak. Send an email to info@IRSMedic.com or give us a ring at 888-477-4258. This is Anthony Parent of Parent and Parent LLP, and we look forward to working with you.